So
Well,
good.
so I just dawned on me. Last time we had Java and Jesus, it was you and me because I couldn't do Friday and we couldn't do yesterday.
Must,
So
must,
sorry, guys. I apologize. Weird things happening and coming up, and so as long as more weird stuff doesn't happen,
man,
we
it's been
should.
flying every direction.
I know, but it should be. We should get back to some sort of routine, so nobody knows whether to come on or not anymore.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks for hopping in with me
Yeah.
this morning.
Good fun.
Crazy days. Oh, here, let's make this big and see if that works. Actually, Corwin's on, Jenny's on. No, that's so weird. I love.
Something went wrong. Try again.
It's been saying that every time now. So our giant screen, which makes it easiest for us.
Yeah.
Um, not working. I thought I saw Jenny on.
Horn and
Corwin
Corwin.
is.
Yeah.
Corwin and Brady.
Cool. Brady.
So
Trying to Brady.
Brady, Corwin's brother.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay.
was
Yeah,
here
he was
Sunday.
in church Sunday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Morning, Brady.
He's my understanding is he's here. He's gonna be for a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So we get to pick on both of the Carson brothers.
By the way, Corwin, the music last Sunday was awesome. That last song especially just
Oh yeah,
blew
yeah.
my doors off.
So, but we have to be careful. Before long, we're gonna have the Carson gang here.
That's right.
And Bethany is on. Good
Morning,
morning,
Beth.
Bethany. I just found out I have a splinter in my finger. I
Okay,
know.
that's going to be a
it's life.
distraction.
It's life. Yeah. Didn't know that till I squeezed it. Bethany has a little icon. It looks like maybe the sun rising.
From here, it looks like the Ukraine flag.
That's what I thought at first. Yeah.
I can't see though. I got a bum eye.
Yeah. If this would work just right. Boop. No, that says something's wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk over here and see.
You're gonna walk over. Jim's gonna get real close to the camera. You guys eyeball him really good now.
Oh, it's a sunrise.
Sunrise. Okay. Yep. Wow. So I kind of like the summer because it's a little different routine, but I'm ready for summer to be over.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons, it is a sunrise. She says. For one, it's staying hotter than normal, longer than normal here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with this. Although we were in El Paso, and it was 111.
Yeah, that's beyond hot.
It was 111. At least that's what the car was saying.
It was 92 up here.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Cloudcroft.
That was outlawed right before I got here. Yeah, yeah, it's just been hot, and I'm ready to get back into our normal ministry routine. They finished up first and second grade camp. That went well.
That was the last camp, wasn't it?
Yep, I wasn't able to be there, but it was really good. Ready for fall. I'll take fall. I like winter until about March, and then I'm ready for winter to be over.
I think my favorite is 1st of September through about the last of November.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part of the year.
If I had to pick a month, it would probably be October.
Yeah,
because it's got the nice nip chill in the air. We've got a chance for some snow. Aspens are amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, I would probably pick up here October. Places where it's hot, February, January, February, where it might not get 100 degrees.
Yeah. But it's not about this world.
Yeah. Wow. Man, it's not. It's about the next.
Wow.
That would be a good title for a message. Next. Jim is really good. So the message on Sunday, that the title was Next. And I hope the counter is wrong up there because it says we have nobody on. But we'll just have a fun time with you and me.
I enjoy these conversations.
Oh, I do too. I do. They just get to hop in and see. But I will say, first of all, it is, without going into details, had a bunch of stuff happening just in our life just this weekend. And it's so easy to get just caught up in, because you have to deal with the stuff of the world, don't you?
Yep.
I mean, it's one thing, and then it seems like another, and if I'm not careful, I forget and think that, man, this is what it's about. I mean, I have to deal with this and deal with that and deal with that, and
I like what you say though. Okay, I got to deal with this, deal with that, deal with that. How can I deal with this, deal with that, deal with that under the shroud of eternity? Okay, how can I use this situation in an eternal mindset?
And that's where we want to be. It's easy to forget though, that
man.
When it seems like life is coming at you 100 miles an hour,
Like an avalanche.
yeah. Then it's easy to forget that, hey, all this stuff is just temporary, even though some of it is urgent, so you have to stop everything you're doing and deal with the urgent.
Yeah, don't bother me now, God. I just got a shovel.
just keep shoveling. So Jesus is talking to the religious leaders are really trying to nail him. This is the last week of Jesus' life on this earth, before the death, burial, and resurrection. He is around 6 weeks after that, but and they're really trying to trap him. And so this I say this all the time, but I really mean it. The Bible is so much fun to read, and to read this is really kind of hilarious. So this is the Sadducees, who don't believe in the resurrection, which is why they're sad. You see, that works in English, not in Greek at all, but in English that's funny. Just like the Pharisees, who liked rules because they were fair. You see, yeah. So the Sadducees, and really, I had never thought about it this way until I started studying for the message for Sunday. But because I always thought the Sadducees were trying to make like they believed this was going to be true. But as I studied it, it really is more like they are debating like we might. Well, so if you say there's a resurrection,
then how can this
answer
be?
this for me?
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the way that they were coming at it, but wanted to try to kind of trap him.
Yeah.
And so they do their deal. And Moses says that if a woman dies and had no children with her husband, that his brother had to step in so that she could have children. And let's say that that brother died before they had kids, and this went on through the 7 brothers. She, at the resurrection, who's her husband?
Yeah.
And
we talked about this just a minute ago, that they're approaching it from, okay, so if this is so, then how can that be so? And Jesus turns around and says, no. Here's how it is. Okay.
We got Dennis on too. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
And I can't really see that little icon, but I think Dennis is cooking.
I'm not going back up there. Yeah,
that
looks like heat.
I think he's cooking. It was 111 in El Paso. I think they've had 105, 106.
Yeah. Dennis, I woke up to 72 this morning, so I can feel your pain.
I almost put my hoodie on when I got up. It was a little chilly.
I'm sorry, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be back in the mountains. This is not a good time. August is worse, but not a good time to be in El Paso. My nephew messaged me too, and he sent me a picture. Theirs was 105, 106. He lives right in the same area. And he said, "Can we come back?"
I missed them. I guess we were on vacation at the same time.
They were here the 1st through the 10th or something like that.
Yeah,
2nd through the 10th.
in Pennsylvania.
AC, yeah. Whew. Well, at least in El Paso, even though 111 is not fun no matter what, it was a dry heat. So you're cooking and shriveling up at the same time, So Jesus is talking with them, and they approach it like we do a lot of things, that we take our mindset and we all do this. We have to. The context that we're in is what we use to really kind of interpret
Yeah, it's the
other
only,
things.
only set I've got is my
Yeah.
mindset. Yeah.
I liked it in Top Gun Maverick. You saw that one, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
When he says, Maverick, I don't like that look. He goes, it's the only one I have.
Sorry.
So it's hard a lot of times to think about eternal things, and stuff, because all we have is this perspective that's bound by time and space.
Right.
And when you're trying to look at things that are outside of time and space, that's hard. So anyhow, that's what the Sadducees were doing. And this whole thing of, so she's married to 7 different guys in heaven, who's her husband. And Jesus, I really kind of love the way he does this. It's like, it's almost like Jesus says, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah. It would be a little bit like saying, so which is better in heaven, a steak that's medium or medium rare?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus is like, it's not like that, you guys are tying things to your earthly context.
Makes me, and I don't know where it's at. The verse talks about my mind is not your mind. My thoughts are not your thoughts.
His ways are higher than our ways. And we get that. One of the fun things is people who are from here, who've not traveled, is to tell them about chiggers. You've encountered chiggers, have you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Fire ants.
Yeah. Well, fire ants I can kind of get, although not quite.
Chiggers you don't know till they got you.
Yeah, there was someone that was telling me that they got bit by a fire ant, and I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. They cover your leg and then they all bite at the same time. The chiggers, you don't even see them.
I know.
In fact, that's what one guy called them, no-see-ums.
And they like where the skin folds too.
Well, because it itches more that way.
Oh yeah.
So it's hard to describe those to someone who has never. They don't have any context for that at all. Right. They've always been in a dry climate like this, and they're like, they're what? I said, well, you can't see them. They get under your skin and excrete this little thing that makes it itch like crazy. And one way to get rid of them is to where it's it'll be a bump. You put clear fingernail polish on. You ever tried that? Yeah. Yeah. Or poor Hope, she got eaten up by mosquitoes, I guess at the pavilion or something. I don't know, somewhere she did. Yeah. And so I got her, but I'm a nice guy. I'm a good daddy. I got her that it's the Caladril, which is basically the clear Benadryl topical.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. In our day, we had what?
Calamine.
Yes. Lotion. Yeah. We were like a little walking Pepto-Bismol blob.
So, I still got a bottle of that.
Do you really? Oh, yeah. All pink.
Rabbit.
Yeah. Well, there is a point actually. Oh, okay. So the point is, it's hard for us to think about heaven, and that's a whole different kind of deal, the eternity, because we only see it with the lenses of this earth. And so Jesus is talking to them, and then it's really kind of funny. If you're a Family Feud fan, or if you remember that, whenever they would say something, and I love watching it, and Steve Harvey's hilarious. Anyways, the new guy, yeah. And so somebody will say something, and there's like people on their team, there's like a pause. Oh, good answer. You didn't really say that? It's a terrible answer. That's almost what happens here when Jesus says, he tells them, all this.
Well, he didn't even respond to their question. They say, well, okay, if this, then why, how can that be? And he goes, nope.
Yeah, basically. And then they say, let me get there. Teacher, you have spoken well. Good answer. Well, what? But then he goes on and he says, how can they say that Christ is David's son? For David himself says in the book of Psalms, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand till I make enemies your seat. Thus, David calls him Lord. How is he his son? And I really kind of like that. Here's kind of the point that Jesus is driving to with all of this is we're looking at stuff with worldly eyes, with temporary eyes. So the whole thing about marriage and this is kind of hard for some people to think about, but in heaven there's not going to be marriage. That's what he says. We'll in that respect we'll be like the angels. We're not married. We're not given in marriage. I mean,
yeah, I like where in service you went, whoa, no amens.
yeah, I get men. This is not where you say spouses. This is not where you say amen. But there's not gonna be marriage there. And I know when I say that sometimes we were talking about this before we came on. When I say that sometimes that seems disappointing to people. But even though we don't know exactly what it's going to be like in heaven, our relationship with anyone is going to be so much better than it is now.
Yeah.
You know, we feel like, well, if Cynthia and I aren't going to be married in heaven, we're going to lose something. No, you only gain.
Yeah. What replaces it is much better.
Yeah. You only gain, in heaven, but it's still a little bit hard to kind of get our minds around.
And we talked about this a minute ago that at least for me, it's not as important what it's going to be as it is that it's going to be.
Yeah, that we're going to be.
I'll
there.
leave the what to God. Yeah.
Yeah, and I teased a little bit on Sunday. We kind of think about stuff like that. Well, coffee tastes this good here, man.
Yeah.
How much better is it going to taste in heaven? We might get there and think, oh, why was I so hung up on coffee?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah,
what was I even thinking?
That's a tough one for you. There might not be coffee in heaven. Oh no.
There is too, because Hebrews.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I walked right into that.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah, I sure did. There'll be a bunch of Hebrews in heaven. But the thing is that we tend to get so bound by stuff in this earth, stuff in this world. And I tell you, I had a crazy weekend. It's not all there is. So here's the big idea. It took us a little while to get here. That do I have the big idea? Yeah, here we go. Right. Followers of Jesus should live not for this life, but for the next.
Yeah. Well, you said we're only renting.
Angelo said that. So it's a line from the song of Toby Mac, but I like that line. This life is only a rental. Yeah. I mean, we're just temporary. And some people have a pretty nice rental. Some people will be glad to trade in the rental. Actually, we all probably would if we realized what it was going to be like. But we don't live for this life. We live for the next. And if we could make that change, the Pharisees would have never asked that question.
Yeah.
You know, if we can think more that way. We won't try to, because there are a couple of things that I said. First of all, the next life is not like this one. And I tell you, I didn't say this in church on Sunday, but that's where you can say amen. The next life is not like this one. And it's probably going to be different in so many different ways that there's just going to be absolutely no comparison. I'm sitting here, my leg is bothering me, and my back hurts a little bit just because I'm of an age. I'm ready to get to the place where I can't remember what hurts.
Yeah, we are well seasoned.
I hear that's next. How are you doing? I don't know. So. I have a bunch of aches and pains, but I can't remember where. I want to get there. But I mean, everything about this life, it's hard for us to kind of cast that off. And I heard someone say, and you've heard this saying, you're so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good.
Yeah.
And I get that, but I think that's not where we live most of the time. I think where we live most of the time is we're so earthly minded, we're no heavenly good. Because we get caught up in stuff of the earth. So the next life is not like this one. It's not, and that's hard for us to imagine because this is the only context we have. And we tend to think that the next life is going to be like this one, but better.
Yeah, life 2.0.
Yeah, and really, I haven't read it yet. Randy Alcorn wrote a book called Heaven. Let's see if I can find it real quick. The reason I haven't read it yet is it's like that thick.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the one time.
Deadline is one that he wrote.
Yeah.
Almost all of Randy Alcorn's books really kind of deal with that aspect, which is way cool.
Yeah, it is.
Because he has some really neat
If
perspectives.
you guys haven't read Randy Alcorn, do.
Yeah, Deadline
It's
is a
worth
good
your
one
time.
to start with. That one is a really cool book. But you can't really make a comparison. You know, we tend to think it's going to be like this life, but better. And that's kind of, where Jesus was addressing with the Pharisees. It's almost like Jesus is not like that at all.
Yeah.
You guys are trying to compare. It's not like that at all. You just need to throw your comparison away.
I just love that they're going, well, okay, so if this, then that. He's going, no. Well, but if this, then that. No.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, you just don't understand. And so those are two things that we have to remember. And then the other one is we tend to think that we can take things from this life into the other. Now we know we've all heard, you've never seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul.
Yeah.
Not like that, but we tend to think that we can take our preferences with us into heaven. We tend to think that we can take our relationship with us into heaven. Just our concepts, the way that we think about things. And guys, what I get what Jesus is saying here is it's so different that you just even need to quit thinking that way.
Yeah, and this probably gets off the rail a little bit, but I think that's true, but we are present in heaven. So it makes me wonder what makes up we. What part of me.
I know.
That's way off the rails.
Well, no, I think it's good to help us to start thinking the way that we should, that it's so different. So
when I'm refined, what silver's left?
Well, when I go to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and get to see Dennis, I recognize him by the way he looks.
Yeah.
In heaven, that I don't believe that's going to be the case at all. In heaven, I believe that we will see people. Here's the way I like to say it, that we will be fully known and we'll be able to fully know others.
Yeah.
So it's not an appearance kind of thing at all. And I don't know how this works because this is the only context I have, but that we will see someone for who they really are, regardless of appearance, that we'll get to see their soul.
And that was my point, because if I can identify that, that's the part of me that I want to work on.
Right.
The rest of it's fluff.
Yeah. I mean, or shine. Yeah,
Or
in
shine.
some cases, yeah. And I tease all the time. I really don't have a hang up about not having hair. In
It
fact,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have hair anyways, whether I have a hang up or not. In heaven, we'll either all have hair, or we won't care. I'm leaning way toward the side that we don't care whether we do or not. And so in heaven, I just think it's going to be so different. Everything here is so physical because that's the reality that we live in. We see, we've got our five senses. In heaven, I just don't think those things are going to be a concern. We're not going to be bound by time and space. We could be. The Bible talks about in Revelation there'll be a new heavens and a new earth. It may be that God recreates creation, I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah. And honestly, that doesn't bother me as much, or I don't concentrate on that as much as I concentrate on it's going to be, and it's going to be better.
And that's the thing. And you alluded earlier on, if we can shift our focus, and so where I left in at the end of the message is we need to live with eternity in mind.
Yeah.
That
I like your bullseye example on that.
God in the center and everything else
Everything
revolves around.
Everything I do has to filter through God.
That's easier for me than to think of a list of priorities, because then you think of how much time do I spend with each priority, you know. But if we could live with eternity in mind, and this is kind of what you said, it's not so much what it's going to be like when we're there, it's that we're there.
Yeah.
And then we start thinking about others around us. Oh, Tony's on. Good morning, Tony.
Hey, welcome home.
Do you know Tony got back home?
Yeah, I got a text.
Yeah.
Got a message from him that said, I'm home.
It was really funny, Tony, because he had just asked me, and I said, "Oh yeah, Tony's home." Then he looks and he goes, "Hey, it's Tony." He says, "Hey, I'm home."
Welcome back, man.
Back in the cool mountains. Now he was in Cruces, was not much cooler there
and
than
then
El Paso. Yeah. So if we could do that, if we could start to live really with eternity in mind, and think about it, it's not so much of what it's going to be like when we're there, it's who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And to be able to share with people that. And
we mentioned briefly verse 35 where it says those who are deemed worthy, and man, all it takes to be deemed is a free gift.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a job description also for us.
Lord, save me. I mean,
and help me to save others through you.
Right. And to help them understand.
Yeah.
So anyhow, let me encourage you to I know we got to deal with the stuff in this world, but to start thinking with eternity in mind, and then start living your life with eternity in mind. And there are some things that we have to do, but to think beyond this life and into the next, so that we're not living for this life, but we're living for the next life. So mow your grass, fix your well.
With eternity in mind.
Yeah. But don't let that be the reason you're living your life.
Right.
You live your life with eternity in mind. Well, let me pray for you guys. And again, hopefully we'll be able to get back into the normal routine. There's nothing that I can think of that's coming up. But sorry, we've been so kind of hit or miss with Java and Jesus. I'll be here. I can't remember if Paul is here Friday or not, but I'll be here Friday.
I can come Friday if you need.
Okay.
Paul's not here.
All right. Good deal. Let me pray for you guys, and we'll send you out into your way. Lord, thank you for your love. Thank you for the way that you care for us, the way that you move and work in our hearts, and God, in our tiny, limited understanding, help us to begin to live with eternity in mind. Not to live for this world and for the stuff of this world. That we live here, that we're in the world, but we're not of this world. That this is just where we can share with others how they can have a relationship with you through Jesus. And God, even though we don't know what it's going to be like in heaven, Lord, our main concern would be who's going to be there with us. And so, Father, help us to share that with others. Help us to live as if this world were not our home. It's just a temporary dwelling. We're citizens of heaven, not citizens of earth. And God, help us to do that in a way that brings you honor and glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, thanks for hopping on, hanging out with us. And got to click a bunch of buttons now because everything changed. We will see you guys on Friday. Today's Wednesday?
Today's
Wednesday. We'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.